What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are still currently in the after wash uh after washing the hair sort of phase where everything is really poofy and just annoying and gets everywhere. Um, but yeah, welcome to another video of whatever this is. How are you? How are you do, how are you doing? If anyone was watching this, for me, I'm doing okay. I I'm doing okay. I didn't really get that much done today, because I had a dentist appointment earlier this morning that didn't actually go well. Like it didn't. So me and the dentist have a pretty long history. Not this specific dentist, completely, but just like me and dentistry have a very complicated and toxic relationship between each other because um for the first maybe like for the first maybe like 12 to 14 years of my life, I would be, yeah, for the first like 12 years of my life, I would be completely okay going to the dentist. Going to the dentist would be a pretty fun excursion. Pretty fun excursion because that meant that I would get some sort of lollipop or like a gift afterwards because my dentist used to give like tiny little gifts that weren't toothpaste and toothbrushes. Um, but I would say from the age of 14, I really started hating going to the dentist, and I can only really attribute that to like uh, me developing anxiety because prior to that point, I felt like I never really had anxiety towards myself. I never had this anxiety that was geared towards myself. Um, I like when I was 12 or something. Before 14, I used to have anxiety about just like things outside of myself. Like for example, if a girl was looking at me, I would have anxiety about that. But maybe subconsciously, that's also the same thing as having anxiety about yourself because if a girl that I liked looked at me, maybe I thought I looked like a dumbass or something like that. Um, I don't know what I'm saying, but basically, 14 years old is when I started really being self conscious and really anxious about the way that I am, about my tics, about pretty much everything. Uh, which took a toll on me mentally, academically. It made school just a living hell to to exist, and it made it impossible for me to actually be fully committed to my to my grades to my grades, which let me actually turn this down because of my laptop, which actually made it impossible for me to actually commit to my grades because I was so just like overwhelmed with this like emotion of anxiety on a continuous basis, which manifested itself especially whenever I would be in class, to the point where it was just so distracting. If it was like having ADHD. It was like constantly having a voice living inside of your head that would just tell you the most random shit ever, at all times, and just trigger you more and more and make it impossible for you to focus on anything. Um, and to tie that into the dentist, like that anxiety manifested itself in other aspects of my life, in my relationships. Like for example, I never dated anyone until I was 19 years old, but in the high school, I had a friend group that I just never invited people to anything, even though I wanted to, even though even though there was desire to do stuff with them, I never invited them to stuff because I was just so anxious. I was just so scared of being rejected, which I guess is where my anxiety about my ticks really comes from. I am so afraid of being like, I don't care if people can see my ticks. I don't care if people can do that. That's why I'm making these videos. Like I truly don't care. What I do care about is people rejecting the ticks. Is people realizing that, oh, I noticed that tick, which is not the problem, but it's a problem for me, and therefore I do not want to continue a relationship with you. Like, that is probably my biggest fear ever, is someone rejecting me over my ticks. That would, like, if a girl was like, you're a really nice guy, okay, you're a really nice guy, you're a really funny guy, and I'm having a fantastic time with you, but I can't proceed things further because of your ticks. And I know no one will. I know that's the thing. I know no one will ever say something like that, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that it isn't a factor in people's decisions, you know, which makes me really wary of people, which especially makes me really wary of people that I want to date, people that I'm in relationships with, because I've had numerous times where I would just like contemplate to myself, wait, why are they even with me if I'm like this? This is such a burden on my own life, that why are they with me? And it's probably a burden on them. Truth be told, it probably isn't a burden on them at all. Even if it is, it's definitely not as much as it is for me. So, damn, I just keep going on tangents. To tie that into with like dentistry and stuff, because I had like very low self image, I never really felt comfortable in any sort of space, in any sort of environment, and that included a dentist chair. That included sitting in a dentist chair, because when you're sitting in a dentist chair, it's generally preferred that you're still, that you just have your mouth open. There's a lot on the line with the dentist poking a lot of like a really sharp objects into your mouth. So it's like you generally do want to be still, for that activity, because you'll just get hurt or you'll hurt the dentist. You know, and in activities where I'm supposed to be still, that those are the activities that truly trigger my takes the most, truly trigger my body the most, to move. It's kind of like my body is saying a big screw you, like fuck you, we're gonna move despite what you want. It actually ties in why, because like when Black Beatles came on and the mannequin challenge came about, like everyone, like every class in our school did it, except for our class, except for the class that has me in it. Obviously that could be because of many different possibilities, mind you. But the fact that my class, the one with the guy who can't control his movements, didn't do the mannequin challenge where you're supposed to be still. Kind of given, but kind of suspicious. But I don't know. Well, we digress. But what was I saying? But yeah, just like I was never really comfortable in any space that isn't my own home. That isn't my room. The reason why I'm not taking as much in my room compared to outside is because maybe it's because I feel like I have direct control over my room. Like I know everything in here. I'm super comfortable with everything in here. I've seen everything here a million times. It gets a bit tricky when I have people over. Like, for example, when I have girls over, it gets a bit tricky. But even then, that sense of familiarity is still there, and I can still be like comfortable and chill in my own space. Um, but yeah, the dentist didn't go well because the dentist lady just got like scared of continuing on. Like she barely touched my tooth here, which is like I don't know what this is called. It's like, yeah, I don't know, but she barely touched like at first she touched the 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 front part of the tooth, and then I did my thing, and then she kind of like pulled back. Like she knows about my issues, and we've worked on teeth in the past, but something about today was different. And she kind of pulled back. We took a little break, and she tried doing the back, and the back was even worse because now she has to like reach even deeper, and I'm just like, you know. Um, and also another reason why I do these things, especially at the dentist, is because I'm so afraid of pain. Like filling in cavities has always been so painful to me. Not always, but like the last few times that I filled cavities have been so painful for me, especially when using the drill. Like I've had moments where I would be literally screaming in pain. It was like a 10 out of 10. It was like a 10 out of 10 pain scale. It was so bad, and I just couldn't. And and I've had dentists where I'd be like, "Oh, I'm in pain. This hurts," and they would be like, "Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. We just numbed it. Like, bitch, did you just numb the wrong tooth or something?" Um, but yeah, that didn't go well. She eventually gave up, and and she was like, "Let's try again in like 2 weeks," and yeah. And my mom is like, maybe we should find another dentist that isn't so like slow and shit like, because that's the other issue, is that my dentist is pretty slow. And like the thing is, I'm not sure what I need with my takes in dental health, but I feel like maybe someone that is quicker, that can get things done quicker before I'm able to make the movements, you know, and most importantly, someone that is more gentler, would be really good. So I definitely gotta look into that more. Um, but yeah, we're gonna try again in 2 weeks. And it's funny because I even took lorazepam, which is a hardcore, well, not super hardcore, which is a benzodiazepine, which is like one of those like super duper anti-anxiety medications that should help you chill. And I was feeling chill. I was feeling relaxed, but the problem is sometimes it feels like I've said in the past that the main reason why my tics exist is because of my anxiety. But sometimes even when my anxiety doesn't even exist, or isn't a primary like a force within my day-to-day life, like they still do exist. So sometimes I feel like there can be a disconnect between the anxiety and the actual like and the actual like like and the actual condition, because the actual condition, I haven't talked about this on this channel before, and maybe I'll talk about it in more detail in the future, but the actual condition is like a broken gene. It's like a very specific gene that's like broken in a very specific area, you know, which is kind of fucked up because we have like billions of genes, I feel like, and that one specific gene had to be broken and made me like this. But honestly, kind of a blessing, because I could have been a lot worse than this. Um, Eventually, I will tell the whole like life story of everything going on, but I'm just not like in a particularly like reminiscent headspace right now. Maybe in a future video for sure. I definitely gotta write these down. I don't know what I want this YouTube channel to be. Um, Obviously, initially it was just me documenting my breakup. But now okay, the situation with the breakup is honestly, it's not it's not even at the forefront of like my what I it's it's not what I think about most of the time. I still do think about it. Sometimes I still think about her sometimes. Um, but I'm at the point where it's just easier for me to just assume that she's like dead, and it's just way easier for me to just assume that she's like dead, she's like deceased, she got into like an accident. God forbid, knock on wood, that doesn't actually happen. But for me, in my brain, the easiest way to move on is be like, oh, she died, and that's it, and there goes all hope of like becoming friends, of like being friends, and like doing stuff together. Is like, oh, she died, you know which I know is probably not the best like coping strategy, but but I feel like that enforces like a level of disconnection from like um from like her, because I feel like people get to a point where like no matter what you could possibly do, you can never get a connection back. You can never get a connection back, and it's not like you and it's not like a job where you get fired from a job and then you're like, oh, I gotta get that job back. I gotta get that job back. That's why, or what else can you get back? You know, like what else could you get back that you've like given away? Um, uh, I guess like a house. For example, if you're in the process of like selling a house, then you realize, oh, actually, shoot, I don't actually want to sell the house. Like, I'm so sorry, and still the house is illegally binded to you, so you can just like disperse everyone else. I don't know how houses work, or or if you buy something on Amazon and you're like, oh, actually, I want my money back. I don't want this thing anymore, and you get your money back. But I feel like with the relationships, with like platonic and romantic relationships, like you can't really do that. Like there is no state to come back to. I feel like people always get into these traps where it's like, oh, I gotta get her back. I gotta get her back. I gotta do this. When when getting someone back implies that like they've never changed. They've never changed. They like they like stood on the they like existed on this linear path that just never changed. Versus like a normal path where it's like ooh 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 ooh. Ooh. You know what I mean? Like it's just implying that they're still, and you've somehow like missed the mark, and you're like, oh, I gotta turn around. I gotta go back. But in reality, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like this is your path. This is the person. Like at first you're together, and then you just kind of diverge. Even if you go back to the same spot, like they're already gone. They're already gone unless they're also in the same spot, which is usually not the case. It's usually like I'm sorry, but if you're in the same spot, you're a loser. No, I'm just kidding. But like, but like, even if you don't do anything in life, like you're never in the exact same spot that you are currently. Even if you're not like on that grind set, working hard, like doing all that shit. Even if you're kind of just like passively living, you're never in the same spot. You're never in the same mental state. You're never the same person at one at a certain point. If that makes sense. So the idea of like getting anyone back is just like it just seems so stupid to me now that I think about it, because like she's already probably moved on. She's like moved on. She's a person living her life now, okay? And like and like um in a way, in a way it does invalidate the past, but it doesn't mean that my memories are invalid. It doesn't mean that the good times that I've had are invalid. It just means that the good times that I had like no longer exist except for in my head and maybe her head if she has like if she has things that she would like to reminisce on. But like it only exists in my head, and it's a like sure I can go back to the memories in my head and I can cry, but I can never actually go back to that path, to that path where we're like diverged. Like it's already boom, even though it has been a week, even though it's only been a week, it's already we're already far apart from each other, you know. And that just kind of like is what it is. That just like is what it is. Um and like that's okay. That's okay. That's like a normal thing. Like like people will never be like this all the time. People will never move along the path together for all of eternity. Even the whole concept of like forever ever after is like stupid. Even though, not gonna lie, it's something that I've wanted. I've wanted a partner for forever. But like the more that I date, even though I don't have that much experience in dating, I literally got my first girlfriend ever when I was like 19. So how long ago was that? That was like 3 years ago, right? No, that was like 2 years ago. This is literally 2 years ago. So it's like, and this is my first serious relationship. You know, This was my first serious long term relationship. So, uh, what was I gonna say? And like the fact that all those relationships ended. Like I've had three specific relationships. One There's one relationship with a girl that I had for like a couple weeks that I don't even count. Like a little bit of lore on that. It was like in between like two long term relationships in the past. This is like 2021, maybe 2022. But I met this girl on I can't remember where I met her. I think it was like Omegle actually, which is where I met my ex. Uh but uh but I met this girl on Omegle. Um I think this is around the time where I first broke up with my where my first actual girlfriend broke up with me. And I met this girl on Omegle. And I was just so heartbroken about my relationship ending and about her breaking things off with me. Uh, that like that this girl was like hearing me out and stuff, and it made me feel heard. It made me be like, whoa, this person might be kind of cool because they're like hearing me. They're giving me that validation. And so we add each other on Discord, and already she kind of seems like a little bit unhinged. Uh, Whenever we call, she would just rip bongs all day. She would just be high all day. She would say like really weird shit. She would just say like really weird shit. Oh, sorry, I got a Reddit notification. She would just say like really weird things. Uh, and eventually uh, we started like FaceTime calling because I wanted to know what she looks like. Because she's shown me pictures in the past, but you know how like when like when like women that are like bigger, like they like they take pictures from they take selfies from like the highest angle, the highest point, to kind of hide their double chin, you know. So those types of pictures were the only ones that she ever sent me. And uh and I was like, oh, she looks fine, she looks good. Um, uh, and then we FaceTime, and oh my god, I'm sorry, this is gonna make me sound like a shallow ass person, um, but 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 I felt a little deceived. I felt catfished, low key. She looked nothing like the pictures that she showed me. Like I think it was a catfish. I think she like photoshopped her pictures or something, because like she looked nothing. She looked absolutely nothing like like the pictures that she would send me. And I was just so confused, and at the same time like so repulsed, because like it's not like this person was like hideous or anything, like absolutely not. But like but like just like the dichotomy between what I expected and like what I actually got was just insane. Was just insane. It was like a completely different person. I legitimately had that thought of like, wait, is this the same person that I've been talking to for the last like 2 weeks? Like, oh my god. Oh my god. Um, but I kind of hit it. But I kind of hit that because, of course, if I told her that, like that would have like that would have like absolutely killed her. Um, but I was just like, oh my god, you know. And I eventually broke things off with her, um, because I remember like telling a story or something when we were on call together, and she wasn't even listening. She like I could hear the bong being ripped through the microphone, and she was just clocked. She was just clocked out, and I was telling her like a pretty like intimate story, not like intimate, but like a personal story that like meant a lot to me, and she just wasn't listening. And I was like, okay, I'm done. Um, and it's so funny when people like I've observed this before, but when people get mad at you, they start using personal insults against you. Um, like for example, like with my decision of like breaking up with this girl, even though we weren't ever like officially dating, but or maybe we were. Maybe we were, but I was on some like really freak ass like horny shit. Like it wasn't love. It was like a weekend to like actually meeting this person, and I was like super heartbroken from getting my like heartbroken from my long term girlfriend at the time, and and uh and yeah, I was just like on some like a really freak shit, and I was like, oh, we're a couple now, just cause I didn't want to like exist not being in a relationship, which I know now is like a really toxic way to live. But like when I broke up with her, she started saying the worst things ever to me. She started saying that, oh, you're just gonna end up like your brother, which I told her about, the issues with my brother. Um, I might tell you guys in another video about that. But uh, my brother hasn't had a very easy life, I would say, and has had like a lot of difficulties. But she was just like, "Oh, you're gonna end up like your brother." Da, 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 da. And then I just blocked her. I was like, "Don't use my family as like personal insults against me. Like no." And yeah, it's just crazy how people can like switch up when that happens. Um, and it makes me wonder if I ever switched up on my recent ex, uh, if I ever did that. And I don't think I ever did it to that extent. I don't think I ever like portrayed any sort of animosity. I was very vocal with like my pain and like all of that stuff, but 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 I thought she wanted me to do that because she said that she's gonna be she was always gonna be there for me, that I could talk to her about anything, and that we were like friends. So of course, like, why wouldn't I, express my pain? But I never said any personal insults. I never insulted her personally. So maybe I'm a little bit better than that in a way. Um, but yeah, I I legitimately just ran out of things to say. I forgot what I was saying. Damn, we've been recording for 30 minutes. God damn. But yeah, um, uh, yeah. I don't know what I want this channel to be. I don't think I want this channel to be anything specific. Maybe just like documenting my shit, documenting my own things that I can personally look back on. I don't really see a vision for this channel to like blow up and have a lot of subscribers or anything, even though that would be nice, like creating a community from like shared experiences and trauma and creating trauma bond amongst thousands of people would be kind of cool, but I don't really see that happening, and I don't really feel a particular desire to put in effort into that avenue, into doing that, even though I absolutely could. I think that's a good idea, but at this point in time, at this point in my life, at this point in the day, because it's late. I don't even know what time it is. It's like I don't even know what time it is. But at this point, you know, I feel like this would be like just a good journal. I almost don't want to put labels on it because whenever I put labels on anything, whenever I put promises or expectations behind everything, it always seems to fall flat. And maybe that's my issue with a relationship too. Is I'm so eager to put labels on everything, to put labels and expectations, and strict rules, and this is how things are gonna be, and it never ends up working. You know, I feel like it's fundamentally like an antithesis of my character, because anytime I try to establish an ironclad habit, it never works out. Never. Like, I've tried for years and it never works out. But when I just let things come naturally, for example, I don't work on my app every day, but I work on my app most days because it comes to me. It comes to me. It's not inspiration, it's not motivation. It's just a desire to like work on the app. Like, okay, like I want to work on the app now. It's not like, oh shit, it's it's fucking 7:30 a.m. I have to work on my app this minute. It's like, oh, you know, I got up. I got up a little bit earlier than I was expecting. Let's work on my app. Maybe that's a better way to live. But for me, I feel like it's a less stressful way to live because I can never find myself being able to sustain those lifestyles where it's so structured, so strict. You know, and maybe I have to tap into that with other things, like for example, this channel or future relationships or friendships or whatever. You know, um, I was gonna say something about relationships, but the thought escaped me. Like, I was gonna say something before I even started this video. Um, Something about freedom, but I forgot. Maybe it'll come to me at some other point. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Um, Peace. Peace.